Hello, hello. Okay, it looks like I'm coming through. Okay, we look like we're good. We've still been set up. I wasn't worried about it. Okay, how do I sound that? I think fine. I think that's chill. Trying to figure out where to have everything. Oh man, that tab needs to go. And let me respond real quick. Well, I believe I wouldn't even see. I didn't keep like 3 things up. This should function. Okay. Bro. How? Hello. For bracket. Oh yeah. Based on context, maybe it's just because what I've been dealing with. That sounds like Draft League, but I'm not sure who Mouse Mont is in Discord. But watching this tournament is going to be fun. We talk about this tournament. But yeah, very excited for our Draft League bracket, which is actually starting this week. Just trying to respond to one message real quick. This stream will get more lively once I actually have a game to be casting. I was just making sure it was up and running right before the tournament started. Okay, that's fine. Deal with that later. Yeah, I have not been playing I mean, I know I haven't been playing, but I just am looking at the fact that I'm only at tier 5. But I was pretty happy. I mean, not like anymore. So I was debating streaming this, even if I was me playing in it. And then Parker said he couldn't, and I was like, oh, that works out. I don't need to find a team that I think will be fun, because I just have not been playing much outside of our draft league. I think the draft league is just like 1 game a week, so I haven't been playing that much Pokemon. What's poppin'? Just kind of waiting for the tournament to start at this point. I just went live a few minutes early to make sure everything was running appropriately and sounds alright. What are you guys doing? Both people who talked, are you guys playing in the tournament? Gonna start in just a second. Although let's... Perfect. And... trying to make sure real quick. Anybody not checked in that I know to add? I don't believe so. There are a couple, but I don't know. I don't recognize the tag, so I don't know what to do about it. I'm just gonna press start. We're just ripping it. Then we got a tournament round updates. And we will get into watching some of these games. This is always fun. Pairings. I'm curious. Anything crazy with the metagame? Not extremely. Am I crazy? I feel like this is a pretty low... I don't know. There's a good amount of people. I feel like we've just been having really high, at least for our tournament, high entrance lately. Oh, and we only have one Mawile. Our Mawile Mafia seems to have fallen apart. Oh, maybe I should... Actually, let's do random number generator. Do 1 through, what was it, 14? 1 through 14. We got 11. I'll wait and make sure both these people actually check in. I'm just gonna randomize it again. But once the second person checks in, I'll let them know this will be streamed, and we will get going. Theoretically, assuming the second player actually checks in. It is a pretty interesting matchup in that we have 2 Charizard teams, but very different secondary megas and a couple different supportive pieces around them. So they'll function very differently still. This will be very curious. Please check in, play the game. Yeah, it feels weird to be on the other side. That's funny. Are you in Austin doing world prep right now? Is what it is? That is very fun. I would be so useless doing world. I mean, not useless, but like for the same reason I didn't really have a team to play if I even wanted to play tonight. Like I would not be the most help on world prep right now. You can see I'm only at tier 5. I have not played anything in Champions, and I've not played any more in Showdown. I mean, that's fair. I appreciate it. I'd be helpful to an extent, but I am not up to date on meta trends at all, even remotely. Breaks are good. It's been chill. Although I'm waiting. I think the match we rolled, I'm worried they're not gonna. I think we're gonna have a no-show, but we'll get there in a minute. Minute 15, I should say. Delphox Blastoise. I mean, that makes sense because you've been on Mega Delphox since the game came out, and that seems like the best Delphox team right now, at least that I'm aware of. I last season, but this is still like 3-4 weeks ago, I was playing a bit of that Eduardo Cunha's Gengar Swampert team, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun, I should say. I don't know if I am simply just rusty, but I feel like it doesn't hold up to a lot of the newer teams. Like I don't know. Maybe I just need to figure out the matchup better, but I felt like I didn't have a consistent line in front of Delphox Blastoise. It was really lead dependent, and I wasn't really liking it into the Raichu Raptor stuff. Again, everything just feels so lead dependent with that team. Like if I lead correctly, the game feels pretty easy, and then if I don't, the game feels pretty doomed, and I don't like that vibe of a team. But I think that also could just be my own piloting. Okay, well yeah, we got a no-show. Oh, the only no-show for the tournament was the one we rolled. Okay, another random number generator. We got 3. Yeah, Parker just existing around here, doing some judge stuff. They're not even quite in game yet, which honestly works for me because that means we actually get to see the set from the start. Ugh. Well, it's not even 8 p.m. Has it just been sitting there? I feel like it's probably just been sitting on for a while, and the first time I went to actually interact with anything, it did that. Nice. They seem excited for stream match. It is really funny. I like get people's nerves sometimes knowing that they're like actively being watched. Wait until they both join. But I think it is fun just to have your own game recorded, even if you're not like actively recording them yourself. But like you just get so much better watching your own gameplay back. And then also, you know, hearing my perspective on what I think players should be doing, whether that is correct or incorrect at times, because I'm far from perfect, but having another perspective to think about, I think it's all positives. but I can very much understand, even in like a low pressure tournament like this, just being a little anxious about actually being watched. But let me pull up these team lists as well. Ooh. You got Mega Greninja as solo Mega on Lunar Heaven side, which is well, I suppose we'll see their names in a second. And then Raichu Y, again, solo Raichu Y. Okay, these are very interesting teams. I like them both. Okay, and we lead both of them. So yeah, so it's Adam with his Greninja team, and Jackaroni with the Raichu team. Fake Out, Zap Cannon, Focus Blast, Protect. Pretty standard Sneasler. It's White Herb, Jolly. Greninja, Blizzard, Dark Pulse, Low Kick with Vanillux, makes sense. Garchomp, Jolly, Life Orb. Declaw, Earthquake, Rock Slide. Like in front of Fake Out, are you doing double protect, or are you willing to let something swing? Because I feel like you have to at least protect Greninja, and I don't know if you're willing to let a Fake Out close combat go into Garchomp, but you don't like improve your position that much if you just double protect. Okay, or you can make a call, which is also valid. But that was my concern. That was my concern, is that the Sneasler is still just threatening the Mega Greninja. If you didn't have Bask in the back, like I get you don't have a perfect switch there, really depends what's in the back. But the Sneasler, White Herb Sneasler just overall seems like it can become a problem for this team. Get up the Basculegion. But again, they can also try to just hard call it out with a Zap Cannon into Bask. It is at least Sash, but getting it paralyzed and put to Sash on a switch in would not be any fun. Now, this is an interesting position to be in. Jackaroni is just threatening so much damage so quickly. Now that White Herb has been used, that Sneasler is just so fast. Like close combat Focus Blast probably picks up Garchomp. You obviously would have to trade. Well, yeah, something would die to a Wave Crash. Oh wait, no, but it's Liquidation. Something probably still dies to Liquidation. If Raichu doesn't die to Liquidation, it would die to Liquidation Aqua Jet. Yeah, so like I said, this double up. Yeah, because you really just can't let that guy Earthquake. And you know that the Ghost type is on the field now. Last Respects is, I don't want to say bold, but there's only more damage than Liquidation because Garchomp actually did go down that turn. But it did, so everything was fine. I think you could have Liquidation that slot relatively safely. And Vanillux and Corviknight is that last Pokemon. So this Raichu Y is a problem. I mean, I think this is really tough for Adam. I think you really need your Garchomp to put in more work into Raichu Sneasler, who are very problematic for you. But you kind of need to get the Tailwind up to do that anyway. But your Tailwind set is also threatened by the Raichu. The other option is Adam bringing their own Vanillux with Icy Wind. But then they're very vulnerable to a Fake Out Close Combat turn 1. So this is not an easy position. Okay. Okay, that is not bad for Adam, actually. I think they could very much be in this still. I don't think this Corviknight Iron Head is going to one-shot this Vanillux, but even the damage is very useful, and the potential flinch chance is very real. I do think liquidation, or maybe even liquidation, but more likely I think last respects. Even 100 base power is probably KOing with Raichu unless they're trained pretty bulky. Yeah. They're timid. And the Raichu. Yeah, not picking up, especially with that defense boost and hail. Flinch chance is real. Doesn't flinch. Corv goes down, but it doesn't deal that much to Basculegion. You know they're scarfed into the Blizzard. It's gonna do a bit more now that it's single target. I don't know, it's kind of tough though, because honestly Mouse King Gambit or Wims might be enough at this point. Yeah, and unfortunately I'd say King Gambit is extremely safe, because you have no reason not to just walk into Sucker Punch Blizzard for 3-4 turns in a row. Even if we're trying to get around with like Aqua Jet shenanigans. That's fair. And then secondarily, like, I don't know if liquidation from the Sash Basculegion is picking. I would almost guarantee it's not picking up. 150 halved versus 80. Liquidation is still doing more damage. You kind of you needed a crit. You actually called out the Sucker Punches very well, but I think regardless of which move you locked into, you just needed a crit on the King Gambit. Was the only win con from Adam's side at that point. The Aqua Jet was smart. Liquidation is 80 base power. Last respects at that point was 150. So yeah, liquidation still was dealing slightly more. But like I said, that was a really tough position for Adam to play out. Kind of from the get-go, but especially after the really brutal turn 1 and 2. Very curious to see how both players adjust from here. I could imagine Adam actually bringing their Scarf Vanilluxe. Maybe not necessarily in the front. And even the Icy Wind, like the White Herb Sneasler, just doesn't care about. I don't know. I hate to admit, I think White Herb Sneasler is really, really annoying for Adam's side. Yeah, Sneasler Raichu I put in a lot of work. I think it's kind of on Atom, Lunar, what was it? Lunar Heaven to adjust and try and win from here. I don't think there's much reason for Jackaroni to not lead the Sneasler. Even if they want to change up the partner, I think the Sneasler is such a problem. Yeah, because you're trying to get the Tailwind up, which is fair. Because that's one of the better ways, I'd say, to actually be able to have your Garchomp deal with Sneasler and Raichu. But now you're threatening Fake Out Blizzard into the Corv. And then Blizzard close combat, and that should be enough damage at that point. Does this Corv have Protect? It does. I think Garchomp needs to get out. I don't know if that even does it. I know I said it was on Atom to adjust, and I think they made a relatively smart adjustment, but so did Jack. Like Vanilluxe is just insanely threatening. I think the Greninja switch is actually pretty smart, because I feel like it has to be Fake Out into Core plus Blizzard from Jack's side. So even with it being pretty telegraphed, it's just pretty hard to properly answer as well. Now I'd say probably protect Greninja, get Tailwind up, which is again extremely telegraphed. Oh man, what I'm realizing in this moment though is because of that White Herb, the Close Combat Blizzard, even if it doesn't pick up Corv, which I don't expect it will, it'll still leave Sneasler as the fastest thing in the field. It might be worth just attacking with Greninja if you're expecting the double into Corv though. I was about to say, maybe switch up to Garchomp, but you really can't do that because it's just Choice Scarf Blizzard on the Vanilla. I'm pretty concerned. The Greninja Protect makes me pretty concerned. I think you had to get some damage off with the Greninja. No! They actually close combat that slot. Maybe knowing that the close combat isn't going to deal damage to the Corv. But this was the only way for Sneasler to ever get outsped. I don't think Vanillix... I can almost guarantee you Vanillix is not dying to a low kick from Greninja. But it is going to die to a Brave Bird from Corv, potentially plus a Blizzard. I would say Adam has found their way into a positive position in a very, very tough matchup. They're far from one this early in the game, but that was a very nice call onto the close combat on the Greninja. I was definitely thinking about letting the Greninja potentially go down to get the Garchomp back in, but the Greninja still has value to be put in. If he did go for low kick into Vanillix, like King Gambit is a phenomenal target. Oh, but Dark Pulse. Yeah, that's fair. I can see the thought process. Corv is trained to be fast enough to outspeed the Sneasler and Tailwind. He does pick up the KO, so that is huge for Adam. That is some progress being made. With a Jolly Sneasler, I don't know if they can be trained to live that. Like, I know Corv isn't the strongest attacker in the world, but that is still a Brave Bird. The question is, what do both sides do from here? Raichu is not being threatened by an Oko, by a non-stub Greninja Blizzard. It might be by the Dark Pulse. Greninja is not the bulkiest, but a resisted Sucker Punch I don't think will pick up. You kind of don't love to just double protect in your Tailwind turn. Yeah, but you don't have that much better an option. The other option would have been to just attack with both and like hedge bets that way. Oh, that sucker's probably into Corv. Would that pick up Life Orb? It might. But now, let me see. Yeah, just one turn of Tailwind. The issue here is that now Jack doesn't have a reason not to double protect and just let Raichu be the fastest thing in the field again. I think that's a premature switch. I think you want to do this next turn. Yeah, because Jack's just going to protect this turn. And I think you could have gotten away with potentially absorbing a Zap Cannon next turn. But equally, just Focus Blast Sucker Punch. Does that pick up the Garchomp? Life Orb Sucker Punch plus Raichu Focus Blast. I'm worried it does. Otherwise, I actually think that is a good Garchomp switch, and now this Greninja could turn back into Corv on an Earthquake. But again, I'm concerned about the Sucker Punch Focus Blast picking up this Garchomp. Sneasler, 120 base power, close combat. Yeah. With 70 base power, but with Life Orb. Oh, but Garchomp hangs on! Garchomp hangs on with 3%. That is massive. Actually, I like Adam hedging the bet there and still picking up the King Gambit regardless. Yeah, being willing to sacrifice that Greninja, knowing that he's now taken out 3 Pokemon on Jackaroni's side, even though the Garchomp is very threatened at this point. Oh, actually, it's Life Orb, my bad. We know Corv, and we don't know the last on Adam, but if it's his own Vanillix, Incin, or Basculegion, I think it's in Adam's hands. Yeah, I mean, it is Blizzard. There's always some free shenanigans that can still happen here. I would not count Jack entirely out of it yet. But I do think a Tailwind plus Last Respect should be pretty close to just cleaning the game up. I can respect the freeze dry, but I don't think you're dealing enough damage to have that matter. I think it really just needed to be some Blizzard free shenanigans, but the odds were not high of Blizzard free shenanigans winning that game. So that was very well played. That was very well adjusted. I like both players' turn 1 lead adjustments. Adam having adjusted very well into what was led game 1, and Jack matching by kind of it seeming like anticipating the adjustment, having a good lead for that. But Adam still being able to find their way through that very tough first couple turns. This is a very, very fun. Yeah, I know. I was looking at that. I'll go through the full breakdown of what's being used. Very fun. Yeah, this is fun. I don't know how perfect it is, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. It is fun just thinking about the game, especially after not like playing for a while. Commentating's fun, and it helps when sets are bangers like this. To be honest, like I was very impressed with the adjustments. Like so genuinely. I mean I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't mean it. But I think the White Herb Sneasler is such a problem, and Adam found their way around it very well in game 1. Yeah, the Mawile Mafia though, it disappeared. Six Frost Fest this week. That is funny. Although I will say. The Chili Dog team has stuck around for so long when I kind of thought it might be a fad. But that very well might have been a team that I would have tried to play tonight. Because Scovillain I always thought was so neat. And so it actually, like not being a flash in the pan, like consistently good on that team, I think that's a team I would mess around with. Although I know we don't have like a lot longer in the season. Oh, 6 Frostlass, and you're the only Chili Dog. That is interesting. I want to go through all the teams in a minute. But yeah, I think that's the team I might try and play with for the next couple weeks. Okay, we did not see the Sneasler lead this time. Most likely it will still be in the back. Like, it cannot be understated how good it is into Adam's team. But Greninja, Corv, yeah, Zap Cannon just threatens both so heavily. So we know we're not going to be seeing a Tailwind from Adam's side, but it could be a Mega Trade. No, but the freeze dry. Oh no. Adam, not like this. Yeah, opting to not click the fake out even on turn 1. Very, very intelligent. And that freeze dry from Scarf Vanilla still one-shotting. That is very unfortunate for Adam. Oh no, the freeze dry plus zap cannon. I think you need to protect the Garchomp and like last respects the Vanillux. But then Sneasler's most likely still in the back. We saw Focus Blast close combat pick up this Garchomp before. Like this game. Oh man. I mean, but we just lock in Freeze Dry into the Garchomp, don't we? No, wait. Okay, Adam has been making very good calls that have kept them in the game in game 2. So this is game 3 now. But that is not the first time I have disagreed with Adam's play, but they have been rewarded for making the play I would not have. I don't even know if I disagree necessarily. I just would have needed more time to truly think through it. So now you know the Basque Legion can't protect safely. Garchomp can. But if it's Garchomp protect and Basque tries to go for last respect, Sucker Punch Freeze Dry picks it up. I almost think there's a world you have to be so bold and just press Earthquake again, knowing Basque is going to continue to get double targeted down here. No! Adam is getting the calls right that he needs to keep himself in the game. Holy cow. I would have called it done and dusted after turn 1. Sneasler is still a problem. Like, I have to admit, Sneasler is still an issue. Because I think a close combat plus Sucker Punch will pick up the Garchomp. But I am very impressed with being able to have taken the Vanillux and Raichu off the board regardless. Yeah, even for Basque Legend, because on 1 HP, that resisted Direct Claw is still picking up the KO. I'm almost even done trying to predict what Adam's correct moves is here. They're showing a proficiency with the team. Sucker Punch. Are we doing Direct Claw or are we doing close combat? Close combat. But if Sneasler dies... Oh, I don't even know if it's like Sucker Punch mind games though. Because I think, frankly, it's safe enough to just press Kowtow. Okay, you did bring it to a 2 vs 1. There was a world that Garchomp could have tried for the protect. But that would have been like just 3 hard reads in a row. Can game at 68% HP. Does just go for the Sucker Punch. Okay. Wow. I mean, there was a world it was like 2 or maybe 3 Aqua Jets picked it up, but it was just... That was hard read after hard read that Adam would have needed to make to stay in that game. I was very impressed to bring it down to that King Gambit last, though. That was a very, very fun set to watch. That was a banger. Oh, I'm seeing, it does look like, I think Jack misclicked the Freeze Dry onto the Bass, the turn that I thought it should have gone into the Garchomp. But even still, I don't even think Into the Bask was inherently fully incorrect, although it did make the game even closer. But that was just a banger. That was a banger set. I hope both players feel very relatively happy with their play that set. I would call that a very, very tough matchup for Lunar Heaven, Adam there. And to take game 2 and bring game 3 as close as it was, I think was very well done. What's up, Murph? Things are going well. We just finished up with the first match of this tournament. Looks like we have 2 more matches left in round 1. Both are in game 3 now. Been about 10 minutes. Looks like that one should be about to be done. This one, they're a bit closer. I think both these players speak Spanish, which is actually, I find that awesome, just because that shows how much the community has, and like these tournaments have grown in general. Oh, I missed a number. Doesn't mean I have no idea what is happening in the chats here. But, oh, and nope, it turned to 8 o'clock, so I'm being sent back. Actually, I mean, one, I'm going to do this real quick. But second, I want to... I want to look at the metagame. The CP. Funny enough, I actually had to get a fan rotom in my game for my draft league because I had every other form, and I just didn't realize I never put a fan form in because it's otherwise pretty useless. I can't even tell if they have funny Pokeballs. Okay. Anyway, let's see if I can do this without breaking things. Yes. Yes. I didn't like break things, but I have double audio on there, so I wasn't trying to talk and make it extremely loud. I don't know how that happened, but I know which one I need to mute now. But yeah, you did miss a banger of a match, actually. I hope the audio still sounds appropriate. It was a very nice game 1. But yeah, our meta game, King Gambit, unsurprisingly, at the top. King Gambit, Basque Legion, Garchomp, Sneasler, Wims, Incin. No surprises here. Interestingly, we do have Eternal Floette as our most popular Mega in this tournament, but it is followed very, very closely by Raichu, Staraptor, Charizard, and even Frostlass. Although I was hearing... I'm going to check out Raichu stuff first. Raichu, it's not often the Staraptor Raichu stuff, actually. Actually, not only is it not often... Wait, it's only 2. Very interesting. And I want to see what these Staraptor teams look like. With Rain. Oh, with the Mawile. Our Mawile is a dual. Unless that's... I mean, yeah, there is a world it's like a Scarf Final Gambit, but no, that is a Mega. That looks like Mega. Seems like the 2 Star Foxes. This must be Mega. Yeah, it's the only Mega. Dual Mega? Colbur Alakazam. Interesting. I can respect it. There's not a ton of Psychic types in the format. Like outside of the Mega, like Mega Delphox. Because what? It's like Espathra, which I haven't seen like any in MB. Not that it was like that common in MA, but I liked it a lot, and I feel like I have not seen any at all in MB, which surprises me. Well, I guess it has a really bad matchup into the fighting type Mega of Staraptor with Lumina Crash, so that might be a part of it. What other, like an Espeon, but it's not as fast. So I can see a vision here. And then a Choppel, Focus, Band, Corrosion, Focus Sash. Special Teacher is not as crazy as Focus Band Glamora. I mostly respect and see the vision. I think there's something more consistent you can be doing with this Glamora. But this is not a horrible team. Aerial Ace. Also, like, I get not wanting Brave Bird on a set you're also going to roost and, like, charm and really, really protect the king because you're just also chipping yourself. But I think it's often more worse to just take that KO. And I get the dual wing beat miss. But I think Aerial Ace is just too low base power. But anyways, I was just curious about those teams. What about these Frostlasses? Actually, what about... Okay, there's one still finishing up. I'm not wasting time. Yeah, this is the only Chili Dog. Oh, this was the no-show that we were going to watch game 1. Solo Mega. Oh, no. This is a Mega Dragonite. The Pulse Flamethrower. Again, I get not wanting Draco Meteor for consistently. Yeah, that Glimp could be Mega. The Wims could even lose Sash on that last team. And run like a bulkier Wims with like a Babiri Berry or something to give Glamora the Sash. Oh yeah. Yeah, I get wanting consistency and like not wanting to miss Draco Meteors. But I wonder if there's not a KO you're missing with Dragon Pulse vs. Draco. Again, another hyper offensive Charizard and Frostlass. Very interesting. I don't know if that's a meta thing I've missed or if that's kind of unique for us. Pretty standard stuff. Although, again, I don't know. Maybe they're not missing a KO somewhere. Maybe Dragon Pulse just enough with their high base special attack. And Heat Wave. Interesting. And leftovers. I was just having a chat about, I think Gyarados is slightly slept on in this format. I think both as an Intimidator, and I was almost expecting this to be Mega. But no, it's Mega Garchomp with Sand Stuff. More Pulse on D-Knight than Draco. That might be real. Like I said, I haven't been playing that much. I haven't kept up too much. But I can see that being real. Yeah, it's not only just the bulk, but it's like I think you're often concerned about picking up the KOs you need. Like, even if you're bulky enough to survive a hit, I think you would rather take an OHKO and then not take any damage from that mon you just OHKO'd versus letting a mon live at 10 to 20% and taking chip. Like, I think you'd rather just take the OHKO. And sometimes that is the difference between those moves. But then the mischance, and then obviously if you want to stick around in the field forever, which Dragonite can do with the bulk. Like, I do get it, but it's a very real debate between the moves at times. But there's a reason Draco Meteor got nerf base power and still sees a lot of play. Let's check out. We have 13 matches in round 2 after a couple drops, and we got 11 again. And it is Gabriel versus Little Potato, and they're both here. They're just about to get in. Okay. So it is Gabriel G3 versus Little Potato, Zach. See the teams in a moment. Got two Charizard Y teams. Oh, they're already in turn 1. Okay. Two Charizard Y and Eternal Floette. I'm looking for a difference. So Gabriel has a White Herb Garchomp with EQ, Dragon Claw, Rock Slide, and Little Potato Zach here has Life Orb with the same moves. And then it is a Sneasler for the Sneasler on Zach's side for the Basque Legion on Gabriel's side, which is also a Mystic Water Basque, and then Zach has the White Herb Sneasler. But otherwise, we got very, very similar teams here. I was kind of busy staring at the team sheet to acknowledge turn 1. But I see the Protect on Zach's side on Dragon Claw. See, Zach's Life Orb Garchomp actually got its attack dropped. Insane is threatening Fake Out. Yeah, on Garchomp who's already protected, so now pretty awkward. Wims has Encore. I don't know if you actually want to do that versus just locking in a Moonblast into the Garchomp. Yep. Even if this Sneasler dies to Dragon Claw, which I'm not entirely sure it does, it does not. This is, I think this is a pretty good spot for Zach. We don't know which Mega Zach brought. Even if this is backing a Charizard, you'll just take Moonblast Chip on it and swing it close combat into the Insane. It's Bright Powder. It's bright. It's... Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I cannot lie. If I was Zach, if I was Little Potato, I would not be the happiest player in the world right now. That being Bright Powder Instant versus, like, if it was Chople, that's like a consistent thing you can play around. A Bright Powder miss just hurts so bad. Also talk about Mega Houndoom. I would be interested to see the team it's on, but I worry it's just a worse Mega Pyroar, which is just a worse Mega Charizard Y. And even then, I think Mega Pyroar versus Charizard Y, there's a more nuanced discussion to be had, but I'm concerned Houndoom is actually just worse Mega Pyroar. Although I guess with Solar Power, you actually get the damage boost on your Dark-type moves as well, but I'm not convinced that's real. Hits harder, fair, but I think the speed difference is so relevant. Anyway, we get a Rock Slide for some chip on Zach's side. Does get the parting shot off. The Whimsicott coming in. We got Tailwind last one? No. I missed what the Winds and what Gabriel's Garchomp did actually, looking at the Houndoom stuff. I would need to see the team. I'll try and check it out between rounds. I don't know if I'm a Houndoom believer though, but I can respect that you made it work. It's not like completely unusable, but I just don't know if I'm a believer. Charizard switch in on the Garchomp switch out. Pretty nice. Awkward spot where if you want to protect the Fake Out, you can get Encore. But you were avoiding that. Moonblast probably just picks up though. It does. Okay. Even with the Bright Powder miss, I think Zach is in a overall pretty good spot. Yeah, the Charizard comes back in. Gabriel has the Ancient Power, where Zach is playing what has been more standard, just Heat Wave, Weather Ball, Solar Beam. So in this theoretically mirrored board state, the advantage is actually in Gabriel's side though. I will say it makes the Garchomp switch in on that Charizard slot pretty interesting. But no, he's just staying in. It could be a Protect and then a switch out. But that still leaves your Whimsicott kind of vulnerable to a potential Heat Wave. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough from here for Zach. Not that it's like a horrible position, but I'm struggling to see like the perfectly clean line. Just swinging with the Charizard. Trying to get everything chipped down to the point where your Garchomp can clean up. I think that might be the best. That might be the best ending to play too. Oh, and because they were trying to cover the Garchomp switch, now you can Encore them into a Moonblast, and you'll have speed control. So just assuming you hit the Rock Slide, which is always a question, but I think it feels even worse in a game when you've already missed a close combat to a Bright Powder. But save for Rock Slide miss, this should be in Zach's hands now. Because Whimsicott, his Whimsicott, I should say, gets to Encore the other Whimsicott into that Moonblast, which prevents it from setting Tailwind. But if Rock Slide misses, it's really unfortunate. Didn't go for the Encore. Likely didn't go for the Rock Slide either then. I mean, his Garchomp still outspeeds the Charizard, but now do we have... Oh, no. Okay, I missed this as well, trying to look at differences. But it's Life Orb Jolly on Zach's side, where it's White Herb Adamant on Gabriel. So we actually do know for a fact that Zach's Garchomp is going to outspeed. So it's not a speed tie. I think not going for the Encore makes way more sense with that context. Very important context. I'm assuming it's something that Zach actually was thinking about. Now gets to lock Charizard into Encore. We're just going to Dragon Claw the other Garchomp. And yeah, we've minimized Rock Slide misses entirely, actually. Very well played. Very well played. Obviously, you could still miss the next one, but with just being able to Encore into Protect forever and eventually land a Rock Slide, this is locked up. Yeah, I think Gabriel's out was probably just not protecting and hoping for that 10% Rock Slide on the Charizard, because that covered the Tailwind swing with Whimsicott. Yeah, this was very well played by Zach. Especially since that close combat miss, like, cost him a lot of positioning. Yeah, just Moonblasting. Don't have anything else to do. Assuming you miss Rock Slides infinitely, Moonblast will eventually take him out as well. Oh, and again, Zach, such a smart player. Why are we even going for Rock Slide on a 30% Garchomp? Well done, well done. Oh yeah, I'll get there. I owe somebody money. Not like a lodge, just on a weekend trip with the guys. Also, I need to request some money from people, but I'll get there as well. Okay, maybe Houndoom isn't that great, but I believe in my dog. That's fair. Making sure everything's running smooth. Oh, nope. There we go. Wait. Oh, Parker's handling it. Wonderful, thank you. So we see the mix-up on Zach's side. He actually brought the Floette this game. From the shadows. No, I appreciate that. that definitely helps. So Charizard switching out turn 1. And the Whimsicott switching out turn 1 from Zach. We see the Mega Floette. Fake Out could very well be into Floette. Oh, actually protect into Floette, but now we have Encore threat with the Whimsicott. Oh, and a side parting shot to bring the Charizard back in, but maybe not in front of the Garchomp. Basculegion. Okay. Well done. Knowing your Whimsicott's more of a supportive piece. You're not too upset with that -1 special attack. I think the only awkward part now is if you want to go for the Encore into the Floette, your Basculegion has to take some damage, but Garchomp is not threatening a one-shot, and Mystic Water Wave Crash, I believe, is going to threaten a one-shot into Garchomp. Not the sheer colds. That is unfortunately just how that goes sometimes. Okay, we do go for Tailwind. Maybe a little bit of an overpredict. Oh! And the Floette switching out and respecting the Encore, but the Garchomp actually living that. EQ finishes at Basculegion. And I'd imagine this is just a Moonblast, maybe even a D-Gleam, but I think both will kill this Whimsicott. And Garchomp lives at 1! It lives Mystic Water Wave Crash and gets 2 attacks off. That is phenomenal EVing. Yeah, Zach just proving time and time again, very, very great player. They lost their round 1. This is an 0-1 match. I'm very curious to see who they lost to. I know I've had to play them before. In many tournaments. I think I ran into them on ladder and showdown once. Oh, those are 32-32 EVs. I actually can't believe that those are just 32 EVs. I didn't quite connect the dots that you were Zach's in chat, but that does make sense. Only because it was Mystic Water Basculegion Wave Crash. I didn't know Garchomp was built like that with just 32 straight up. Yeah, Adamant Mystic Water. That's the thing though. From not playing the format very much, I actually don't know the calc very well. Very well could be a roll, especially to get 2 attacks off. Yeah, letting that Floette go down, but what it allows is a free switch here, and Floette's definitely gotten its job done. You know, they just have 2 Pokemon left. 2 turns Tailwind, just protected the Garchomp. Probably, yeah, just Tailwind, Rock Sliding. Curious what the last Pokemon is. Because I think Sneasler is like typically, yeah, that's what an Intimidate drop would do. Sneasler versus Instant. I think both can probably clean up the game. I suppose it's probably easier with Sneasler. Oh, the crit on the Garchomp. It allows Whimsicott to stick around for an extra turn. The Moonblast damage could be real, especially if it is Instant in the back here. If it's Sneasler, I don't think that matters quite as much. Yeah. Actually, it matters a lot, because otherwise there's more mind games with Charizard protecting as... yeah. And then if you went for Dire Claw, which is like kind of the safer play. Oh. Okay, well... At least I think it probably shouldn't matter still, but I cannot lie. I cannot believe that with all the items that are not in the game, for I think semi-valid reasons, if we're trying to make it accessible for new players, I cannot believe we put Bright Powder and Focus Band in here. Because they're both like new player traps, and they just add a level of inconsistency to the game that is inherently unfun and would probably turn away newer players. Oh my, it does matter. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, we're going to game 3 of another Bright Powder Close Combat miss. That's crazy. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. That's crazy work. I can't. But it's like I'm not even trying to be so like disrespectful to Gabriel for putting it on the team, because I think Instant is unfortunately a Pokemon that it is a more real item on, because it can just kind of hold whatever. Like, it doesn't have a safety goggles for like specific matchups. There's an argument it should just be Choppleberry, especially if we're like watching these interactions. It's like a more consistent, similar thing. But it unfortunately, I think, can get away with the Bright Powder and just sometimes win more games because of it. And so I don't even think the choice is so horrible with the items we have access to, but I just cannot believe Bright Powder is in the game. Like, that's my frustration, is that the item is even in the game to begin with. But anyways, we'll lock back into the set. We see the Whimsicott Garchomp from Zach's side on Charizard Instant. Zach not leading their Mega this time. He's shown an ability to bring both of them, so we truly don't know which one it's going to be. Garchomp is -1. Opposing Garchomp's going to eat the rock side pretty well. Same with the Instant. So that is not horrible damage onto the Instant, but equally didn't get a ton done on the turn. You do have Tailwind, you do have Moonblast, you can just switch out. You know your Garchomp faster. Yeah, you can just protect. I think Instant probably wants to Flare Blitz it to get rid of it. Doing Protect on Earthquake is pretty fair. You are probably dying to a Dragon Claw from the opposing Garchomp is my only concern now. But even if that's the case, Garchomp got some good chip damage down. I think Floette or Charizard are probably picking up this Instant with like a Weather Ball or Moonblast. I don't know Charizard Weather Ball rolls that much, just not having been playing. I think this is still in a fine spot for Zach. although Gabriel is up a Pokemon, and that is a very interesting part of the game to keep track of. Taking a Pokemon, giving your opponent the free switch in, might make the game appear, well, be more even than it might appear to the untrained eye. Because yeah, with Charizard, as I was thinking Instant was at like 50%. At 26%, Weather Ball obviously picks up. Heat Wave probably picks up. But you probably don't want to click that button in front of Bright Powder, just because I'm traumatized and I'm not even the one playing. Moonblast into Chomp. Do go for Heat Wave. Because I agree in that I'm not 100% sure that Chomp would die to just the Moonblast, but I am not even the one playing and I'm too traumatized by the Bright Powder. But it does connect into Instant. We no longer have to worry about Bright Powder shenanigans. We do know that in a Charizard mirror, Gabriel does have the advantage with that Ancient Power. So we shall see how we continue to adjust. Probably not going to be Base Flow in the back. Could be Sneasler. Minimum 72% to Chomp. It's so funny trying to commentate a game that I know you're listening to, for the record. Yeah, no, but Moonblast, if Moonblast always picked up, I think you should have just Weather Balled the Instant then. Like, unless you're trying to cover a switch. But especially with Bright Powder, I think it is just Weather Ball into Instant. Yeah, I can get covering for Switch. I can get covering for Switch. What's up, 3K5? What's up, Atomic? We are watching Game 3 of Zach, who's actually in the chat, which has been, it's interesting. Oh, you're round 2, never showed up? Let me double check you. I'll do that before I start round 3, actually. We're gonna continue watching this. Tailwind, Weather Ball, just getting the damage into this Charizard that you can. Start Jump, Rock Slide. Yeah, Charizard lives. I suppose there's a world Gabriel didn't go for the Ancient Power. He did go for the Ancient Power. He really wanted that Charizard off the board. But now Whimsicott not only is threatening the KO into Garchomp, but can Encore it into a Rock Slide, which if this is Sneasler, that's not going to be threatening much damage. I don't know which is better. Could probably not Floette. I could see Bask or Winds in the back for Gabriel. Oh, nice. Atomic. It was Lunar something. It was okay. Round 1 was a banger. Round 1 was a banger. I'll say that much. What was it? For Shiny Macaroni. Oh, you were Lunar Heaven, Adam. Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like you had a pretty rough matchup, as I'm sure you probably heard me say. But it was a very, very fun set to watch. So it is Whimsicott for Gabriel. Charizard Protect? Charizard Protect? We have an Encore. So Whims has... Okay, Gabriel's Whims has Focus Sash intact. So isn't going to go down to 1 Dire Claw unless a thing procs. And if it doesn't go down to a Dire Claw, it can Tailwind, but you can't Encore into Encore. That's like a very niche interaction. That Charizard, I want to say feels forced to switch, but I don't know if you, like, yeah, I think you have to press Encore regardless. Ew. But Gabriel outsped. No, but we just could click Moonblast. Because it didn't go off before Sneasler. Uh-oh. Oh no. Yeah, I can see the call you were going for. I'm not sure. That's one that's worth going back through. I mean, obviously the game 2 was an insane Bright Powder Tragedy. I'm not sure it isn't worth always trying to go for Encore. Like, I think even if they switch that Charizard out, I think you might just need to force it to do something. And like, I don't know if he should be allowed to Weather Ball there, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I think especially, I don't know how it feels playing with me in the ear as well. I feel like that might not help. But, and also trying to keep your head in a set after getting 2 Bright Powder misses like that, I can imagine it could be pretty tough. So you still win game 1. Game 2, I mean, you had without the Bright Powder miss, so that's just unfortunate. But unfortunately, that is, I think, how it goes sometimes, for as brutal as that is. It was overall well played. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Gabriel, because I just truly, like, Instant is a Pokemon that can get away with holding that item. That item should not be in the game. Like, we made a game with no, like, story, whatever. Like, this is just for a competitive scene. I think Bright Powder should just, like, that's like a funny item, fun item to throw on your Pokemon in, like, a single player game. And just, like, run around and be like, haha, my Bright Powder. Instant Goat forever. Oh, no, that's fair. Like I said, I'm not trying to take away anything from you for running Bright Powder. I don't think that item should be in the game. Like, I don't think we should have that level of variance. Like, I just don't think we need it. Like, and because of the lack of items generally, I can respect it as a choice. Because we don't have, like, a safety goggles for Incin. You know, it has plenty of other decent items. But I feel for both sides there. Like, it's an option, so you take it for, like, the same reason, like, Bright Powder Garchomp with, like, Sandvale used to be a semi-real thing. Like, you play to the odds. This game is about playing to odds at times. I'm just frustrated with the fact that the item is in the game. I'm not frustrated with you for having used it. I just wish that item was not in the game, but I could probably stop saying that. But, oh yeah, that's actually a great reminder. I wanted to go. I didn't want to. Bright Powder is a little too bright. I didn't want to seriously compete in a fun day. And that is extremely real. I have done that many a time before. But I'm curious exactly what this Houndoom team looks like. Yeah, I figured with Torkoal or Ninetales. Farig. I mean, I like the team, sort of. But that's where I almost think this could just be Mega Pyroar. With Dark Pulse, you have, like, a better matchup into, like, Basculegion. Oh, I mean, the team sheet issues, if you just tell your opponent before the matches, it shouldn't be a big problem. But yeah, I see that. Like, just let them know it's the correct one. Helping out Dark Pulse will Oko Garchomp. Pretty real. What even is Houndoom stats? Also, don't judge my builder. Actually, we just zoomed past it. I was messing around. It's faster than I realized. I don't know. Unnerve as an option is funny. Is base even useful at all if you want to hold on to it for a second? Yeah, kind of. I really don't hate this team. I don't know if it's Solar Beam, only because I think Leaf Storm. Oh, Flash Fire could be real actually, instead of Unnerve on base. But I think there's like a Helping Hand, Leaf Storm picking up bulky Basculegion calcs. But again, I've like vaguely picked that up from somewhere in the ether. I'm not that well versed in this meta. Oh, and it's King of Skite as like secondary if you're gonna do the Trick Room mode. I really don't hate this team. This seems like a team I would mess around with on ladder. And especially with the context that just kind of messing around with it. This is like a relatively solid team. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with not going original, except in here. Oh, it's been sitting there for 15 minutes, and it wasn't a problem at all. I'm just laughing that it sat there for 15 minutes. Because I didn't check for the judge things again, but it was also like a non-issue, so that was fine. What is this last match? Oh, that was your match? That's funny. 8 minutes ago. Took him 10 more. Yeah, no, I read the chat and I just cleared the request. That was just funny that it sat there for 10 minutes without me noticing. Cause there's a lot of tabs open. You know what? I might switch it to this one here. So I'm also trying to keep Discord open, only because there are times in a moment like that, if it was a real issue, but I think, oh no, you know what? I'm gonna change this. Oh no. No, I definitely did not see that. I've not tuned into one of your matches yet, but Sheer Cold, Heatwave missed KO on a roll, got crit. Unfortunately, it just happens. Like, not to like minimize how annoying it can be, but like truly that's just a Pokemon moment sometimes. I've gotten at a local back when the like Articuno team won the regional. Somebody brought that to a local. They beat me pretty fairly game one, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the whole game, but I remember it being like a real game. And then in game two, they turn one shot my Incin with Sheer Cold, and then turn two one shot something else with Sheer Cold, and I just went, well, I guess that's the set. But round two just finished. Doesn't look like any issues. I'm gonna ping. I keep sliding down in my chair. I don't know how I'm doing this. I'm sure it's funny on video if I want to go back through and speed it up and just watch the slow descent. To bench the Mammothline. Oh yeah. I can imagine locals this past weekend. Anybody actually showing up to a local this past weekend, definitely trying to get some last minute world testing. Let's see, we got 11 this round. We rolled 8, or we rolled 6. I don't know why I just said it. 8. Cherry Ballad versus Pato. We've not seen either. So let's see. Okay, one of them hasn't checked in, and I have an amount of water left. Let's see. Oh, they both shifted. Perfect. Yeah, okay, this is a very interesting discussion happening in chat, because that is where I think being able to watch your own games back is extremely helpful, because there are times where, like, a set can be an 0-2 and still be pretty close. And sometimes it's like one turn a call gets made right, maybe two, that like can change that game so drastically. And it's tough to tell that in the moment, and so it's easier to try to figure it out with more time to think about it than just those 45 seconds in hindsight. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't want to say a lot. It's very, very good for learning the game to genuinely go back and analyze the matches. Yeah, and sometimes things are rolls. Being able to go back through a game more objectively, think about both sides, overall win conditions, how they're trying to play towards their end game, figuring out what you could have done differently, figuring out if you shouldn't have done anything differently and it was a roll, like all those little things. Like having the time to go through your matches is very, very helpful for growth. 4-0 game 2, 3-0 game 1. But it's like sometimes it's still just a tiny bit off of that 4-0 being a 1 or 0-1 win for you. Like if you can reverse sweep with like a certain Pokemon. Because it's all about just setting up into the proper end game. I mean, not all about, but like it can be in moments. Like you can go down 4-1 and win that game if that 1 is set up correctly. Oh, this is the one Mawile team from Cherry Ballad. I have this set up so much nicer now, by the way. I can actually see information. Although I'm probably going back and forth way more. Anyway, let's pull these up. So Cherry Ballad, Mega Mawile, Focus Sash Chandelure, and then Mega Staraptor as a secondary. Lorb, Garchomp, Citrus, Rotom, Lake Clay, Ninetales. The only funny to me, because I see three, if not four Pokemon that could have a set or a scarf from that team, and none do. Not that they need it. I was kind of expecting one of them to be Scar, if I'm going to be honest. And then Pado has the Eternal Floette, Mega Floette, Mega Delphox, with Sash Sneasler, Lorb, Kingambit, Cassib, Sinistra, which is the Ghost Resist if I'm not incorrect, and Citrus Incin. Now we see the Mawile and Chandelure lead, which looks like it could be just trying to get under Trick Room. Mawile not inherently the best Pokemon to be able to support that, so I'm a little concerned about what the Kingambit Sneasler on the opposing side wants to do. But the Chandelure is also capable of just pressing this Heat Wave and getting big damage onto both of them. I don't know if it picks up the Kingambit. And it's tough, because if you want to call out the Heat Wave, you might want to Sucker Punch Dire Claw the Chandelure, but then it is allowed to get Trick Room up for free. So it is not the easiest position still. And again, Chandelure is drawing a lot of attention. It can just protect. But Fake Out into Mawile. That would have let Trick Room get up. And Sucker Punch. I think at that point, I don't know. Maybe Heat Wave would have picked up at that point. That is tough. I'm not sure what the most consistent turn 1 play from either side would have been there. Because, yeah, Lisette here, Cherry Ballad could have gotten Trick Room up, and now it is pretty threatened by Dire Claw Sucker Punch. Again, they don't even go for that. They just go for that close combat and just Mawile. And what does this Gambit do? Not Sucker Punch. Does just Kowtow. It's a lot of damage. But Mawile is probably set to pick up AKO here. Oh, it's Sash. I don't know how I missed that. I said it out loud at least. I didn't mentally to check it for a second. There's Jolly. So this Jolly Garchomp is not outspeeding. Do you have the Sucker Punch on Mawile? Sucker Punch, yeah, with Kowtow damage, Sucker Punch also is picking up Garchomp. This has turned into a tough position for Cherry Ballad, who remarkably would have just been allowed to set up Trick Room. And we saw that their Kingambit is actually faster than the Mawile. Yeah, we see it again. So I think in future games in the set, Cherry Ballad could think about just trying to press that Trick Room on turn 1, or maybe even turn 2. Both players aware of that Sucker Punch threat, though. Both just opting to protect. We'll see how they try to protect their Pokemon on this following turn, when the button is no longer an option. At least not a consistent one. See the last Pokemon on Cherry Ballad's side. Sneasler just goes for it, which, even though it fails, it protects from the Sucker Punch, but neither player falls for it. We don't see the Mawile yet, but it's not Sucker Puncher that would have gone off first. Rotom living? Okay. We removed that Kingambit threat. That Kingambit has just been sitting as probably the most threatening Pokemon on the field. Rotom maybe could have lived a Sucker Punch, I'm not entirely sure. I think it probably was just outside our range, but now we don't even have to think about that. Mawile has been chunked enough though that even the resistance to Fairy does not have me thinking it's going to live a Moonblast, maybe even a Dazzling Gleam from the Floette. So this is still looking pretty tough. Oh, Draining Kiss, Calm Mind, D-Gleam Floette actually. It is still modest. I would actually warn a bet Rotom's going to survive this turn. Maybe Sucker Punch into Sneasler. I'm unsure if you're calm minding or if you're dazzling gleaming. I think you have to get a calm mind in this position. Do just get for the sucker punch. I'm really unsure if this is calm mind or deep gleam. I think deep gleam is still fair. It does pick up Rotom. Or Rolling Coral. Yeah, it was Mawile. But if it picked up Rotom from that range, I think it was probably picking up Mawile without a crit. Hello, capture card? Hello, hello. What? Okay. That was very strange, but hopefully that was it. Oh, it's being really laggy. I thought I fixed some of these issues. It seems like it should be alright. In between games, I'm going to try and reset something. But anyways, with the amount of damage that Floette did to Rotom, and with the Sinistra Rage Powder support, there's modest Floette, Jolly, Garchomp. I think Garchomp gets to Rock Slide first. But there is always flinch outs here. And then I would suspect a Heat Wave from Chandelure. Chandelure might be able to clutch this up still. Yeah, even without... Chandelure, I think, just needs to land 2 Heat Waves to clutch this game back out. The speed tiering isn't to protect. Okay, it lands. That slight delay had my heart going. What did Floette start at? It was like 67 or something, wasn't it? Like, this could be a roll still. Oh, but the Draining Kiss. I'm not sure. Single target declean does 43%. Oh, but we do get a miss into Floette! Unfortunately, that is what you have to expect with a move like Heat Wave. And it doesn't even one-shot the Sinistra. So unfortunately, I'm not sure. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that mattered as much as I thought it might have. Still unfortunate, no doubt, but it was still a reasonably close game. Considering I think the turn ones went very in favor of Pato. Oh, the sound is delayed. Yeah, I gotta reset something in between games. That was an interesting game. I would imagine... reset some things. But I would imagine... I don't know. How do they want to do their leads? If I were Cherry Ballad, I could see just leading the same thing and changing the moves. But then I would be concerned about Pato doing the same thing. Because I don't know what the most consistent line for either player is necessarily. But it seemed to be a world where Pato just would have let that Trick Room go up on turn 1. And I think that world would have been a lot more in Cherry Ballad favor. Okay, let's hope that his capture card stopped freaking out. Should have felt the one between game come out now. But we see, okay, it is an adaptation from both sides. Okay, big adaptation, not leading any of the same Pokemon. And we even see Pato changing up the Pokemon they're bringing, with Sin actually showing themselves this time. Now we do know that Garchomp is the fastest thing in the field right now, but at -1, even with Life Orb, it's far from threatening a one-shot onto Floette. Just protecting. Psycho does go into that slot. It gives Rotom the ability to potentially do an E-Web, but that's also pretty free. Oh, actually, no. Rotom, it Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Wisp. Hydro Pump into Instant, probably going to take it out. But now you have a +1/+1 Floette to deal with. I'd say this is a pretty scary spot for Cherry Ballad, all things considered. Oh, and the other fake out. They like Garchomp attack. It is still -1. I think Sneasler will probably still go down to that. Or it's Sash. The Widow. But it didn't want to fake out and break its Sash, which I can respect. But this Deagling. Oh! And Rotom just living the fake out +1 Deagling combination at 1 HP and getting that Citrus Berry off. Went from 1% to 25%. Like, I think it was straight up 1 HP. Oh, you know what? I think I'm back to thinking Cherry Ballad is actually in a nice spot here. Because save for Dire Claw Sleep, I think Trick Room just goes up. And you love to see a Mawile and Trick Room in front of a Mega Floette. Training Kiss, pretty fair. Gonna get a lot of HP back, even from that resisted target. But I am concerned. Oh, the crit. The crit. Oof. The crit probably mattered to get back to 100% HP. But I'm not convinced that Mega Mawile is not just one-shotting that Floette regardless. Yeah, the Mega Mawile. No, Iljan. It is not Mega Shandy. It's actually just a Focus Sash Chandelure. It is Mega Staraptor on this team and Mega Mawile. But it is Trick Room Protect, Heat Wave, Shadow Ball on the Chandelure. It is very cool. They have some unfortunate turn 1s in game 1 where they never got their Trick Room off, where it actually would have benefited them. Opponent had ways to stop them, but they would have just let it go for free. Did play to a board state in this game where it was a lot more free to just get the Trick Room up, and now we are seeing this Chandelure Mawile potentially poised to reverse sweep. Very cool, Pengu, getting that win. Yeah, so we do now have the redirection away from this Iron Head. With 3 turns of Trick Room left, I'm not sure it matters though, because Heat Wave Iron Head will pick up Cinny, and then Floette protects. Floette has to get a double protect. No, not the Heat Wave misses! Oh, this Chandelure needs glasses! Does it live? But it lives the Dazzling Gleam at 1%! This... now that there's a double protect, like both of them having protect, with Trick Room up, this is interesting. Just the Rage Powder. Not protecting Floette this turn. Ironhead is getting the damage off. Deagling. I was gonna have to go for a Sucker Punch upside of Trick Room. I think that Heat Wave miss probably was. I think the Heat Wave miss probably did cost them the game, unfortunately. I'm glad that was a very good quote. We have glasses in the game. It's called Wide Lens. Unfortunately, and I think Sash and Chandelier makes a lot of sense. Like I'm not gonna say the item choice doesn't make sense, but unfortunately in this set in particular, it didn't need the Sash, and it very much needed Wide Lens. Hot Dog has won again. Very nice. The crit on Sucker Punch actually could have been enough. It was definitely worth not forfeiting and playing that out, but with no crit to be had, that is a very unfortunate 0-2 for Cherry Ballad, who very well could have brought that to 1-1 without that Heat Wave miss. But none of that is to take away from Pato, who did play very, very well this game. Played well in both games. But yeah, it was a very close set. Very, very close set. Like I said, Pato got some turn 1. I don't know if they recall, but he had very positive turn 1s on game 1, like turn 1, 2, 3, where Chandelier kind of could have gotten Trick Room up, but felt threatened, didn't want to. And then I'd say Pato ended up with lead there. And I actually felt like Cherry Ballad had a pretty commanding spot in that end game, but a Heat Wave miss sometimes is all you need to not be able to bring it home. So that is how it goes. We have 4 matches left. I'm gonna take just a moment to fill up some water, and I know my roommate has something to talk about and just got back, so I will be just a minute here. Probably I should be back before round 4 starts, but we'll see exactly what I have time to look at. I think I have this. I'm not eating, but I will be. Can I edit this? I can. Not eating, but I will BRB. Okay, I am back. Looks like one game left. Should probably not be taking too long. I don't know if either of them are still here, but RPR, there is not going to be a top cut. This is a 5-round Swiss tournament, and then whoever's at top is just our winner. This is more for practice and for fun. So we just like to keep the time relatively consistent for everybody so they know what to expect. And then for Cherry Ballad, I know that was actually a very fun set to watch. That game 2, even game 1, it didn't matter nearly as much in game 1 that Heatwave missed, but the game 2 Heatwave missed, I think, did actually lose the game. So that is always a tragedy. And then welcome back 3K5. There is no top cut for these tournaments. These are these are for practice and for having fun, getting people experience with best of threes and whatnot. So we'll just keep the time pretty consistent no matter where you are in the standings. I could tune in real quick, but based on the timing of the first 2 matches, it seems like they should be done in just one moment here. That's a great question. What record you might need for top 8? Look at previous tournaments, to be honest. I think a 3-2 can even sneak in. Yeah, last tournament it was still 4-1, but sometimes it's 3-2. I think we have slightly less. Oh yeah, last was only 4-1s. I feel like we have slightly less people than we have been having. I could see 3-2 sneaking in. Yeah, but the one before that, we had 3 3-2s in there. So it really just depends how many people actively sign up for the tournaments. Most times, I'd say it's a pretty clean, like we only end up with 1 5-0 at the end, but we've even had enough where there's been 2, if not 3 5-0s, and then it just goes down to resistance, which is kind of annoying for sure. But again, we just like to keep the time that the tournament runs pretty consistent, and it's more often than not just 1 5-0. But yeah, 3-2 sneak in pretty often. I love spamming these. That's fair. I wasn't entirely sure what was happening because I see it on my side, but it's like just kind of there. It's like not huge or distracting. I was just like, oh, there's emojis. Yeah, just a silly Houndoom day, which is extremely valid. I've played many random silly in the tournament. Oh yeah, they just ended. Perfect. We are pairing round 4. Okay, round 4 is up. So we've got 9 matches still, with a couple drops, which is always very normal. Oh, and I don't know if I want to do this for round 4 actually. Round 4 actually rolled number 1, but I kind of like doing the finals for round 5. So I think I kind of want to avoid the 3-0s, if I'm going to be honest. Slight issue. Huh? I know, I realized it was you after I said that 3K5 and I felt a little bad. But I like to do the finals. I was about to say, I was looking at the round 3 and I was like, wait, that isn't what happened. You're good. Oh, Focus Plan and Glamora, we did see them earlier. Oh, no, I looked at the team earlier. Who are we looking at? Oh, we actually rolled Vaporeon. I'm glad you're not offended. Simply just win this game, and you'll most likely be for next round. Easy peasy, right? No stress, no pressure. Yeah, there should be a fun one with the Houndoom and the Glamora stuff. Well, yeah, so the team has Focus Sash on Whimsicott already is what's happening. I honestly, I can respect the rest of the team. Not that I like don't respect the Glamora, but it's the same issue I had with Bright Powder, which is just why do we have items in the game that have a 10% chance to trigger? If we're trying to introduce a wider audience to competitive Pokemon and we just go, by the way, sometimes there's 10% chances to just flip the game entirely on its head from what was supposed to happen. I find it very annoying, but it's, you know, it is what it is. I think Bright Powder is more usable than Focus Band, but I mean, leave don't want to cheat, that's fair. I mean, I don't even know how much of it's cheating. Like, I don't see any more information than you do for the record, but I think it's probably just really awkward to be trying to play a game while having somebody else try to commentate it at the same time. Like, I was very surprised Little Potato was in here while I was commentating their game earlier. Like, I don't even think it's like an integrity issue. I don't think that has any impact. I feel like I wouldn't want to be listening to somebody talk about me and my opponent's potential thought processes while I'm battling, but to each their own. I appreciate the sticking around still. But yes, for everybody who's unaware, this is Focus Band Glamora, Power Gem Toxic Venoshock Spiky Shield, Life Orb Cleavor, X-Scissor Stone Axe, Night Slash Protect, Chople Tyranitar, and you might think you know the set off of that, but you don't, because it's Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Earth Power. Which honestly, like, Special T-Char is not that crazy, but just mixed with everything else, it's really funny. Sash Whimsicott, Moonblast Charm Tail and Protect, Colbur Berry Alakazam, Psychic Disable Protect Shadow Ball, and Mega Staraptor, Close Combat Roost Protect, and Aerial Ace, which I understand not wanting Brave Bird or Dueling Beat for their potential trade-offs, but I think you're losing too much base power going all the way to Aerial Ace. But we shall see how it goes. Versus Vaporeon, who's been in chat, Scarf Annihilate, and Mega Houndoom lead. Very curious to see where we go from here. Both games are very interesting. I know, I don't love the Focus Band Glamora, but besides that, I do generally understand the Pokemon on the team for AA. I don't know if I should say AA or AA, because the AA doesn't sound entirely accurate. I think I'll just leave it at AA. We do see that Houndoom Mega on turn 1. No reason to really delay that. Staraptor Mega on turn 1. Again, sometimes there could be reasons to delay it, but in front of a Annihilate, really zero reason to. I would try to switch that out and get that back. Just a straight charm, so Staraptor is going to be hitting really hard, but Annihilate outspeeds. Just is going to break that Whimsicott Focus Sash. Going to do a lot more than just breaking it, but most things are going to deal that much damage to Whimsicott regardless. Oh, but this Mega Houndoom is going to outspeed the Staraptor. Has Sunlight and misses the overheat onto Staraptor. That is extremely unfortunate. But the Aerial Ace only dealing 40% to the Torkoal. So we're still in a very playable position for Vaporeon. Although that... No Tailwind? No Tailwind? Just going for Charm again? Heat Wave, so they're not going to have Tailwind at all. Even if they get a close combat into this Houndoom, they get close combat into Torkoal, which KOs it at +4. I don't think it needed crit. But now you have a Houndoom and a Scarf Annihilate. That's beating your Staraptor. Okay. My roommate's such a goofball. Wants to buy couch, does not want to buy couch. Only a goofball because he's the one who brought up wanting to buy a couch. I agree. But he brought it up today and then changed his mind by tonight. So, anyways, we do see Alakazam come in. Alakazam is a very fast Pokemon. I can't lie, I don't know its speed stat offhand. It's probably worth checking. Not faster than Annihilate, but U-Tron's not going to pick it up either. So Alakazam is faster than the Houndoom. It could go for the Disable onto the Heat Wave, but we still have Overheat as an option. Oh, and it's not faster? That's something weird. I'm gonna double check one thing. No more Sun with Torkoal dead, but I think the damage is probably too much. I don't know, yeah, that link works. Earth Power does not that much to the Annihilate. Came in well on the switch. Annihilate's just going to clean this game up from this point. Chople Berry is not going to make up for the fact that T-Tar is at 50% HP. So nice game there from Vaporeon. Although I can't lie, I mean the overheat miss was very, very unfortunate. But if that Staraptor had gotten a Tailwind up instead of going to +4, it would have been an interesting game. Well, I'm just now realizing like I'm still a great ball because I just haven't played. I look like a great ball player trying to commentate everyone else's games. But I think obviously I am not a great ball tier player, genuinely. Cobra, it is timid Alakazam. Did it not outspeed the Houndoom? Is it not max speed? I'm not entirely sure. Not 100% sure what happened with that Alakazam and Houndoom speed tiers. The dog put in work. The dog put in a lot of work there, I can't lie. The Zam? No. No, you're missing out, Parker. We're talking about Mega Houndoom. No more Zamazenta dogs here. Only Mega Fire dogs. Mega Fire Dog put in a lot of work here. We have interesting teams here. Hot Dog, well, I actually am slightly more convinced about Hot Dog. Like, I think this is a well-built team around it. I think you could slot Mega Pyroar in and like outspeed the Sneaslers. That's probably the most. Shit. I'm not gonna worry about that. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing would be outspeeding Sneaslers with Mega Pyroar, but I think Houndoom is still good on a team like this. Just straight up leading the Sun, I can respect it. Overheat can threaten the Staraptor again. Close Combat is threatening the Houndoom, but we've kind of seen AA have a propensity to get charms up before Tailwind, so that could leave the Staraptor vulnerable. Be very interesting to see if AA wants to adjust their play in Game 2, or if we might see a similar thing occur. This is one of my favorite parts about Torkoal on a Sunroom team, is you just press Eruption. You're the slowest thing in the field, but if Houndoom is the one taking all the threat here, you just press Eruption on Torkoal, and it's probably not going to take damage, and it's probably going to get a full health Eruption out. Though I love this style of team with Torkoal, so I am also a little biased in that respect. Protect, didn't Mega, held it, which could be fair. Does go for the Tailwind, but I think if you're going to go for the Tailwind, you can just swing the Close Combat that turn as well. Yeah, does exactly get full health Eruption out either way. Why must this happen to me? I feel like you're... Oh, I know, the Heat Wave did miss, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's like... That might not even be that bad, if I'm going to be honest. Like, not getting a switch out of Whimsicott, because I don't think the Charm Boost is the difference between KOing Houndoom or not. And so I think it just gives Torkoal a turn to now chunk Staraptor and get Whimsicott off the field. It is a little annoying, but I like it. I'm not even convinced that Heat Wave miss was bad for you this time. I could see Charm in Close Combat on the Torkoal, but then Overheat might still KO. I think this is kind of the same thing with Torkoal. You got the call right, and not that it's like an extremely hard call, but I think you're better off just continuing to swing with Bow, just to cover all the options. But again, not getting punished. The protect. Torkoal's huge. Torkoal is one of my favorite Pokemon. I love watching this guy just press Eruption as the slowest thing in the field and never get targeted, and just continuing to press Eruptions because his partner is putting up more threat. Genuinely one of my favorite things in the game. Houndoom switches out, wants to keep it for later, into the Annihilate. Trying to predict that Close Combat again, not give that Staraptor the defense boost. Yeah, the Staraptor has not been able to get the work done that they really wanted to. And Cleavor just trying to press Stone Axe into Torkoal. Only one turn left of the Tailwind on AA side, and with Whimsicott down, Vaporeon has done a phenomenal job of just making it through these Tailwind turns. I literally only have a napkin in front of me, but back in napkin math for the... Yeah, it wouldn't okay. It'd probably do like 60. I hate to admit I was doing back in that math for the +2 CC to Torque when I completely missed that turn. Pointed stone, stealing damage. I think even with Sun going down next turn, there should probably be a double protect from Star after Cleavor. But even with Sun going down, I think Heat Wave probably just picks up the Cleavor. Oh, and Cleavor doesn't even protect. I wonder if they don't have the T-Tar on the back this time. Yeah, the Life Orb, Sharpness, Stone Axe. Even though Stone Axe doesn't have that high base power, there's a lot of multipliers. Multipliers are the name of the game in Pokemon. That's how you get actual damage. Again, I think we saw this in Game 1, although I'm confused why we saw this in Game 1. Alakazam is faster than Mega Houndoom. And even though they're both timid, I think the Alakazam was slower in Game 1. Yeah, Big Trick you with Torkoal, or with Cleavor, I'll go Torkoal. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that Alakazam, okay, avoiding the attack is a bit annoying, but I think Staraptor was the target you actually needed to hit. Alakazam is not fully invested in its speed, or it should be outspeeding that Houndoom. Yeah, that Heat Wave miss was annoying, but I think you still win from this spot. Because it's just a Shadow Ball Alakazam with Disable, but the Disable is slower than Houndoom for some reason. If Alakazam had faster Disable, you could protect like the Dark Pulse and then disable it, and then make you overheat. Let's say there's a world. Why are we not pressing Dark Pulse? I know it's Goldberry, but 2 Dark Pulses will KO, where Overheat has a 90% accurate. Well, he's forcing you to click Dark Pulse now, but I think even at -2 with Goldberry, probably doing 18%. And Dark Pulse into Overheat would have KO'd in either way. I don't know why they're pressing Protect. Dark Pulse. I guess even faster Disable probably doesn't matter. They need to swing Shadow Balls at one point to try and do something. Like, I guess a Shadow Ball Spadef drop into a second Shadow Ball maybe could have. But again, like, the Houndoom outspeeding. Yeah, watching for Disable, covering this later. But yeah, it definitely can't get you from there anyway. I really think you should just drag or Dark Pulse first though, because even if that Overheat and Dark Pulse are switched, in that like you have to Dark Pulse, it gets disabled, and then you're forced to Overheat, and then you miss an Overheat, then you can actually start protecting to stall out disabled turns and get your Dark Pulse back. There's more insurance. I mean, it's like a very, we're getting into like some semantics. Like obviously you won and everything's good. But I really think it was safer to Dark Pulse first. But either way, it was a well played set, especially getting through the Tailwind turns on game 2. Those were very, very important turns to stall through, and you did that very well. But yeah, Alakazam being slower was very strange. Yeah, like Alakazam was timid on the sheet at least. And Alakazam is faster than Mega Houndoom. Yeah, Heat Wave, it's just like the move you need to run on a lot of these fast fire types, but it's still 90% accurate. Like, you're gonna be missing that just like you're gonna be missing rock slides, and so it's just pretty sad. Anyway. What do you... Oh, is... Okay, let's something real quick. Two. That is very nice. I think with the amount of people in this tournament, if you win the next one, 3-2 could sneak into top 8. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that is the issue with resistance when you lose early. Okay, I'm slightly confused, but not in a way that is a problem. But I'm not gonna worry about it. Like I said, it's not a problem. It's not like an issue, but I'm confused by where money goes. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't. It's like the important things are fine, so it's fine. But anyway, yeah, shared cold. The Oko moves are tough because they are pretty balanced in that you are more often than not wasting a turn pressing the button, but it's not so low of odds that there are definitely moments, even if you need to try to press it like 4 times, you're gonna deal more damage, or like that is more consistent than trying to press like a blizzard, you know, like a sheer cold example, 4 times in front of an Incineroar. So you might as well just press the sheer cold button. But it does feel extremely bad to get hit by them regardless, because it always feels like it shouldn't have hit, which is pretty fair. Yeah, Choice Scarf Vanillux into the Annihilate. That makes sense, because exactly, like Vanillux is not gonna one-shot, maybe even 2. Probably, it has a high enough special attack stat. It probably 3. It might 2-ko Annihilate. I'm not sure. But regardless, if it's in a situation where it needs to get that KO, that's why it has the button. But that is definitely unlucky. There's no doubt about that. I guess that run went pretty quick. I am actually gonna jump into 3K5 and see where they're at, because nobody reported game 1, but it's been so long. I feel like game 1 had to have ended, which that is not inherently an issue. Like, that happens. Yeah, +2. Exactly. Like, that's the moment where unfortunately they are very incentivized to actually press the button, and that's just how it goes. But very unlucky, very unlucky. At 26 minutes in, they can't still be in game 1. Can they? No, I think this has to be game 2. $3K is Kyler, so I hate to admit it doesn't look like a great endgame for them. But that could have crit. Well, I don't know who won the other game. I feel like there's no way this is game 1. Oh no, 3K lost. Unlucky. Yeah, both games got reported at the same time there. Yo, good stuff, Bangu. In this last round. Okay. So I know we were just talking about luck. Let's not be the people saying nice hacks in chat when luck doesn't go their way. And I'm not gonna name any names specifically, but I see that in a chat, and I think we can be more mature adults than that. I dropped to watch the finals. Fair. I literally only saw that last turn because I was curious what was happening since I didn't see any matches reported yet. And I was like, that Draco could have crit. Let's see. Oh, it must have been a freeze. Oh, they even said that mid-set. Like, not even at the end of a set. Yeah, let's really not be like that. No, I expect a little bit more maturity out of anybody in this community regardless. There and okay, the real thing too is there's an aspect of like acknowledging RNG and being like, oh, that's unlucky, and then there's a very difference between being salty and like trying to take like almost like invalidate a win, like you didn't deserve it, whatever, to your opponent, when like it just happens. And like I kind of hate to bring this up only because like but it's like such a great example from my actual tournament run, but I don't bring it up just to like name drop, but I lost to Montana Mott with him playing his world team because I missed a hydro pump. And I'm like, I can't get salty over that because if I put hydro pump on my team, I can't get upset with it missing. And that was in tournament. I could have beat top 4 world player. We're playing in a 4-fun tournament. Like, don't get up. Like, there's way less stakes. So I'm like, guys, like, I promise it happens. It'll all even out in the end. RNG is a part of the game. But that game is over. Eight, actually 7. Oh no, but again, I'm just gonna watch finals. Prevents. Yeah, no, Vaporeon. I think that's a decent way to go about it. Like, back to the conversation from way earlier about like watching games back and understanding that there might be times you've lost, but you actually shouldn't have changed your playstyle because sometimes it was like an RNG thing like that. Yeah, no, if that's your first time trying the team, you definitely did very well with it. But yeah, unfortunately, I think things happen. RNG the part of the game. It is what it is. Oh, I didn't even see the crit message from way earlier. You got crit 6 times in those 2 games. That is unfortunate. And that is the thing too, like when games get so down to the wire, like both players are playing so well, like that is when like the RNG feels so rough because it can sometimes truly just be that difference maker. It would be really comical if one of the 4 O's just never checked in, wouldn't it? They have a couple minutes still, but it would be really funny actually if one of the 4 O's just didn't show up. Oh, there they are. Just need a couple minutes between rounds. That's fair. Yeah, I know. It's funny. There were 2 Choice Scarf Vanillics in this tournament. It's like a respectable set. I don't know if the other guy's even in quite yet, but they both checked in. But we're gonna watch our 2 4-0 players. And this is most often how it does end up, even though we don't have a proper top cut. More often than not, there is only one 5-0 player left at the end, so it's a pretty nice gap. Occasionally, we have had 5-0s had to get decided by resistance, which is pretty unfortunate, but that is not as common. Yeah, I think 3-2s will definitely be in top cut, looking at the current records. We had a lot of drops, which is pretty fair and normal. Ew, and we had one player that no-showed every round that never dropped from the tournament that I think I should have kicked at some point. That's a little bit my bad. I'm actually, what am I doing? I'm just kind of sitting here waiting for them to get in. I should start looking at these teams. Staraptor stocks. Yeah, Staraptor stocks way up. One of them, the more, I don't know, typical or more common right now, Raichu Y with Staraptor, Focus Ash, Arcanine, Hisuian Arcanine, Fairy Feather Sylveon, Lorb Gambit, Citrus Forage. And then the other one is Solo Megastar Raptor. which I'm not sure how. I've never been a big fan of the solo Star Raptor teams. I feel like it's always needed a hyper offensive Mega to pair with it, because it just takes a second for the Mega Star Raptor to truly get off the ground, is my 2 cents. But they're obviously 4-0 with it, so they are piloting it very well. And they do still have like the Sneasler and Garchomp that are pretty hyper offensive pieces, or can be, especially like Jolly Life Orb and Focus Sash. Jolly Sneasler can be very fast, very aggressive. And Sylveon and King Gambit, even though they're slower, they enable the Trick Room side of the team with the Farigiraf, and very, very offensive themselves still. So I can see how it works, but I've always been more of a fan of a Star Raptor team with something else. But again, they're 4-0. I'm not trying to say it's a bad team. That's just kind of my 2 cents on the Star Raptor teams in general. And yeah, I do love to see stuff like this. Like same with the match earlier where I just like looked in and like both players were speaking Spanish. We have a Mexican and Brazilian player in the finals, which is just fun to see the online tournaments grow and like the community grow. More people playing from all over. All playing Pokemon, the one game we can all communicate through. It's very fun to see. Staraptor Sneeze is a great matchup for Stool Weather. I can see that. Yeah, Staraptor's tough. I know, I feel like right when MB came out, there was this wave of like, oh my god, Staraptor is completely OP. And then it calmed down a little bit when people actually started playing like Charizard and Floette again. But it's very fun to see it kind of rise back up, because it is a good Pokemon conceptually. It just took a bit of, like, there was a lot of Protect the President with it immediately, and then people started to put it on these other teams, more hyper offensive with the Staraptor option. Evolution has been interesting, although I haven't been following it that closely. Sneasler Rock Slide covers Charizard. Yeah, that is something that, again, I don't know how common, but I've seen every now and again. But it does seem pretty smart. Like, Sneasler obviously loves to have Fake Out, because Fake Out is just a great move. But it can just run Throat Chop, Rock Slide. I don't know, probably gets a couple more things, but those have been the ones I've always known Sneasler to run if they're running 3 attack. But anyway, we do see the straight up Sylveon King Gambit lead. So I know I was talking about how they enabled their Trick Room mode, but you don't even need the Trick Room mode. Like, they're just bulky attackers, so it's more than valid to just lead them straight up, use the bulk, take a hit, maybe even 2, attack back with, like, again, still insanely high attacks from both of them. And kind of called out perfectly the opponent's Sylveon Farigiraf mode. Because that Farigiraf probably doesn't want to set Trick Room in front of their own. No Protect, Sash, Rock Slide, Dive Blast, Fake Out CC. That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about no Protect straight up. Yeah, I hadn't even gotten there. I hadn't looked at all the specifics of these sets. I can understand, like, a team without priority blocking, probably, like, that's fine. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Ooh, yeah, like I said, the Trick Room from the Farigiraf giving way for that King Gambit to underspeed their Sylveon. And Sylveon Hyper Voice. Yeah. I think this was a phenomenal lead from our single Staraptor player. I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm not gonna even try to butcher that name. No. It's just too long. Kensako-chan? But great lead. Great play. We do see the Mega Raichu Y, but it is unfortunately under Trick Room, which makes me very worried for it this turn. It might be going for a Fake Out, definitely. But if you're trying to reverse Trick Room, like, you're wasting a lot of your own resources, and you might not even get to, because this Hyper Voice not quite going to pick up the Fridge Raft. That Sip is coming in clutch, and indeed going to reverse our Trick Room. Now, we do have that Focus Blast for that Kingambit. However, that Kingambit is still holding a Chople Berry. I don't think that even is going to one-shot. I think this Sylveon Kingambit lead has been putting in crazy amounts of work. Yeah, just going through the Zap Cannon straight up. But Sylveon is so specially bulky. This is what I was talking about. You just got bulky attackers. Wow. Kingambit or Arcanine? If they were going to do their Trick Room mode, I'm suspecting that Kingambit. This is Solo Raptor. Like, even with the +1 attack, you're going to resist the first Sucker Punch, get a close combat off. Psychic, yeah, gonna pick up the KO. But even with the do you have a low kick? You don't have a low kick. This is the Life Orb, yeah, Swords Dance. I think the Swords Dance is probably a good play. I don't know. I hate you, but I don't know if it matters, but I think the Swords Dance was a good play. Because you just need to get damage. Yeah, Sneasler. I was like, even if he didn't have the Sneasler and just had like Garchomp, Staraptor, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, just going for the close combat outright, which is fair. It's a Life Orb Gambit. Gonna die to it. You could have like Fake Out Couch Out just to get more chip off. That is a tiny Sneasler as well. That's really funny. But yeah, the close combat just about does it. It's sashed. Like, I know it lives at 2, which is really funny inherently, but that's a sashed Sneasler. It didn't care. There we go. I was kind of just trying to fill some air until we got to game 2, because that's Sylveon Kingambit lead put in so much work. We didn't even need to Mega that game. We never showed our Staraptor. We never pressed a Mega button. That was a really phenomenal lead, just showing the value of bulky attackers. You don't always need the speed control if you're just gonna live and deal more damage. Again, I will say the Trick Room turn 1 was pretty detrimental. So I think if you don't set up the Trick Room for the Kingambit to under and then therefore actually outspeed that Sylveon, that battle can look a lot different. But it's not like switching that Fridge Raft out into something is entirely safe either, with Sylveon still just pressing Hyper Voice. A regional winner. That's very hype. I don't recognize that tag, but I'm also not extremely well versed in players' tags, generally speaking, to be honest. But that is very hype. And I mean, I can believe it. I think the Sylveon Kingambit lead is not necessarily the most intuitive to lead. So it does not surprise me that they are a very experienced player, if not just a straight up regional winner. Because I think even just looking at the team, people would be more prone to lead like a Kingambit or Sylveon with Fridge Raft and like tunnel vision too hard on needing to get their Trick Room up. I'm trolling, not spectating. But having the wherewithal to just know that your bulky attackers are extremely valuable outside of Trick Room, it does show a level of competence in the game, level of experience. It might be. I got no idea. I don't think I'm gonna find it very quickly. I'm just gonna continue focusing on the game. But we do see the lead mix-up. Like it's back to what might be a more intuitive lead in a Sylveon for a Giraffe. Try and get the Trick Room set up for your Sylveon to deal damage. But just gonna protect. That's where it could be Trick Room, could not. Flare Blitz is going to deal a lot of damage, but is going to trigger, I'm assuming, yeah, bit Citrus Berry. Save for Hyper Beam. It would have been a pretty bold read to go for Flare Blitz Hyper Beam straight up. Fridge is going to live this, and I think get this Trick Room up. Now, his free draft has Thunderbolt and Psychic. Not sure if Psychic plus Hyper Voice is going to pick up that Arcanine. It's definitely not going to pick up the opposing Sylveon. But he does still appreciate having the speed control. I would assume he can Gambit in the back for the player who just set Trick Room. And probably Star after, as it's still your Mega, but I could even imagine a world where maybe we just leave it behind. Our own Frigiraffe, protecting that Frigiraffe. Are these speed time Sylveons? They're both modest. They both could be modest. Just casually, oh, he's a regional winner. I mean, it is extremely impressive. But there's not a but. It's extremely impressive, but we just it happens. You play regional winners every now and again. The more you play, like it will just happen. It is extremely impressive. I'm not trying to undersell that. I'm like for the record, I've yet to day 2 a regional, but I have done well enough to play multiple regional winners in person. So I'm just slightly less illusioned by the regional winner. He must be the best player in the world. Phenomenal player, but anyone can beat anyone. Gotta protect Dire Claw. Yeah, he does not want to let that Trick Room get set back up. Very well played. So he's going to leave the Sylveon vulnerable for a turn, but he does still have the Sneasler to protect it. Not going to be able to protect it from the Arcanine, as we're not going to be able to break Sash. Oh, and the Raichu. Fake out into the Sneasler. Hyper Voice. Set up some damage. I think this is where not having Protect on the Sneasler probably going to hurt now that he's actually lost the Frigiraffe. Gonna opt to protect the Focus Sash. And it is going to be King Gambit. Like I said, we're actually just going to leave our Mega behind in this. It is that exactly. That is a good mindset too, though. It is very good practice. That part of what I really do appreciate about this tournament and like the community Parker has fostered is we do have a lot of newer players like getting best of 3 practice and just getting tournament practice in general. But we do still have a lot of very, very, very strong players who play in this that also leads to much better practice for anybody looking for practice. I don't know how many times I can say practice in a sentence, but hey, Parker himself is a top 4 player at regional. Sylveon and Sneasler. It's gonna look pretty tough from this point. Yeah, you kind of needed to cover that. I think you're just hoping to win the speed tie. Or maybe it is just faster overall. I don't know if we've seen it go both directions. If I keep going back, that's what we like to hear. Hot Dog the Goat at 3-2. You very well could sneak into top 8 with that. We'll see. I think this Raichu outspeeding the Sneasler is going to make this extremely tough, if not just impossible to win. This might be going to 1-1. That Cannon obviously not having a missed chance. Just trying to think of outs here. Yeah, and I'm not sure there's an out. I think Zap Cannon Flare Blitz into that Sneasler spot just guarantees that Sylveon doesn't actually have the damage it'll need to clean up the game. Flare Blitz into Sylveon is still pretty fair, but I think it could have protected that and been a little strange. Oh yeah, yeah, forfeit. I mean, it's over at that point. Double A. Then should we do another YouTube channel? I don't know what was happening there. Did I post a link there and it's being weird? Or is Aiden 2B something else, something weird? I don't know what happened. I'm glad you found it though. I knew the link in general was functioning. But yeah, I don't know what was happening there. But I'm glad you found it. Okay. Yeah, we shall see. The gamut of not bringing the Mega in Game 2 unfortunately did not pan out nearly as well as it did Game 1. But again, a lot of the Game 1 momentum was from Pi setting Trick Room, even though the King Gambit actually outsped everything. But both players adjusted their leads in Game 2. Very curious to see what leads we get for this Game 3. I do think in front of the solo Staraptor, bringing the Raichu every game does make sense. But equally, I think trying to bring the Garchomp makes sense to try and answer that, and we have not seen the Garchomp come out either game. I'm very curious to see whether we finally get to see this Garchomp, or if, yeah, I'm gonna butcher the name, Kimseko-chan tries to commit for this Trick Room mode again. Again, Mega Y. Oh, and we do see the Mega this time. This is interesting. So Raichu has a faster fake out than Sneasler, but if Raichu goes for fake out, that could give Staraptor a chance to get a close combat up. I don't know if that +1 special defense is even going to matter too much in front of such strong Fairy and Fairy and Electric type damage. So this Staraptor is in a tough position, because again, even the Garchomp switching into the Staraptor struggled to hit that Fairy type. Oh, but we're just going to cover the fake out entirely. When the Staraptor didn't Mega, Zap Cannon into the Sneasler. Did we press Tailwind? We pressed Tailwind. Because we were trying to fake out the Raichu, which was the electric damage, and not turn into a fighting type for the fairy damage. I see that vision. Tailwind is going to make that Staraptor faster than the Raichu, but it is unfortunately not going to make the Sneasler faster anymore after that paralysis. So this is still kind of an awkward spot for Kimseko-chan, even though I think that was overall a pretty smart play, considering that Mega for a turn, trying to get some speed control. We do Mega this turn. It could just be into Protect, but we shall see. I might be I think I've said it differently every time I've tried, for the record. Close combat. Oh, what am I even... Why am I pretending to be concerned about a Zap Cannon? Yeah. Yeah, of course they'll combat Oko Raichu. I don't know why I'm being concerned about that Zap Cannon. The Trick Room to twist that tailwind against him is very well played. The +1 Spit F likely gonna keep the Staraptor alive for one Hyper Voice. Definitely not a Hyper Beam. But the Sylveon now being paired with that Staraptor is gonna help with some offenses in Trick Room. Still double speeds, he's still slower. Looking like we're gonna sack the Paralyzed Sneasler to try and stall through a turn of the Trick Room. Just to protect on Sylveon. Does go for Hyper Voice. Very interesting, very interested to see what the last Pokemon on Tenseichatron's side is. So I was talking about trying to adjust with that Garchomp, but it was not. It was that Kingambit, which does put him in a much better spot. Yeah, much better spot than if it was Garchomp. Does throw one turn of Tailwind, so it's not going to actually be outspeeding this Sylveon, but it might just be willing to take it. Yeah, last turn of Tailwind, 3 turns of Trick Room. Also, Vaporeon, I think the team would do good on ladder. I think you could definitely hit Master Ball with it if you're not there already. I think you could probably bring it up to 2. I think it would probably start to struggle too hard after that. Opposing Protect, which is pretty fair in that you're not trying to get one-shot by Kingambit, but that Sylveon would have moved first this turn. Psychic, looking for a Spit F drop. It's meaningful chip, but a Spit F drop would have been really nice. On top 200k or 20k. Yeah, I think you could probably get it to Master Ball 2, which is top 10k. I'd be very impressed if you could get that to 1, but I think it starts being harder, a lot harder after that point. $103 is very high. Yeah, I mean that's pretty real. That is, there's just levels. There, like the learning curve is steep. Yeah, and that's the thing, is there's literally zero reason, Pengu, you can't just beat 3K5 in a tournament set at one point. Like, everybody can beat everybody. It's all about the day, the matchup. You know, generally you want to play more consistently, so calls aren't like a thing you ever have to do. But sometimes you can just call a player right enough and win. Sure, 3K5 will probably take more sets more consistently, but that's where, like, you want to get to the level where you're doing it consistently, but anybody can bleed. Reversing TR is bad with Staraptor. I think they were probably concerned about the Kingambit being the slowest thing in the field, and they wanted to kill it first, but I'd agree. No, I think they were fine reverting Trick Room, because they're more worried about this Gambit. Because now they can set Trick Room, Flare Blitz the Gambit this next turn, and Sylveon will clean up the Staraptor. It was kind of a crazy play, but I don't think in like a bad way. I think in a way that actually wins him the game. But I don't think Fridge dies to this close combat. Gambit can't Sucker Punch. No, but but Arcanine. If Staraptor outspeeds Arcanine. Oh, but now Fridge just dies to Kowtow. No, I think the Psychic. There's a lot. Wait. Because Quick Attack on Sylveon. How much is that gonna do? But Arcanine is like vulnerable to Sucker Punches. No. Not Quick Attack on Sylveon. Extreme Speed on Arcanine. So we know Sylveon is going to outspeed Gambit. So Staraptor could just protect. But Arcanine still probably wants to E-speed regardless, so it can't just get Sucker Punched. Does Sylveon Hyper Beam? I don't think it outgoes a Gambit. Protect Kowtow into Arcanine? I think so. I think you're right. I think it protect Kowtow into Arcanine. Oh, just protecting the Arcanine. Just protecting the Sylveon! Wait, the double protect to get out of the protect from Staraptor. Because now he can E-speed Hyper Voice. Yeah, baited the protect. Let's go, Pengu. Yeah, Staraptor trying to go for the double. The E-speed picking up. 2 Hyper Voices should do it. You're going for Hyper Beam this turn? It does Oko. It does Oko. I don't know the rolls. This was a banger final. Yeah, I know I got sidetracked at some points, but these were banger sets. That was hype. I wish I stayed a little bit more locked in. I feel like I got a little distracted talking to Chad at some point, but that was still hype finals. And that was the last match. Okay, and no open match issues. So I'm going to end round and end tournament. And we are going to pull up these standings. What did I do? All right. So yeah, obviously, first place team, the one we just watched with that Raichu Staraptor, clutching up very, very well, and versus our second place, stayed second place with that Resistance. Sometimes you will see the 4-1 who like could have been second in a proper finals drop down, but nice to see you stayed second with that Resistance. They played very well in those finals. Pengu, who's been in Chaz, why I call them out first, clutching up 4-1 overall with the Eternal Floette Rain team. Looked very nice. Fourth place, very well done. Got RPR. Is this a Mega Arrow or is this just... It is. Mega Raichu, Mega Arrow. Pretty hyper offensive. Still has King Gambit Sylveon as answers in Trick Room, but as we saw in those finals, you could just lead those two, and they're very bulky Pokemon that could just sit on the field. That's very well done. We are toast 3-1 with Chili Dog team. Very fun. That one I might be looking at recently, or to play. 3K5, 3-1. Still with that 6th place. Very well done. That dual rain. First time playing it was very cool. Cat Potato. Frostlass. Wait, which one is this? Oh, the Choice Scarf Glim. I actually didn't get to see this one throughout the tournament. Choice Scarf Glimora is very interesting. Oh, Hex Frostlass with the Glimora. I like this team a lot, actually. That's so interesting. Oh, and they're in chat now. That was very, very nice timing. I like this team a lot. I'm actually surprised I never looked at this throughout the tournament. That's a cool team. And then Bo Trixie, Frostlass, Mega Dragonite. I did get to look at this earlier. This is fun too. We got a good mix of some standard, even with a little bit of spice. Like the Solo Staraptor is pretty interesting. Mega Arrow, Mega Raichu, Cat Potato, Bo Trixie. Some more standard stuff in here. It's very cool. And then yeah, wait, where was it? Oh yeah, if you're not counting drops, 9th. Yeah, in chat the whole time. Does have a very interesting Mega Houndoom team. I do like it. Double A we got to saw. I like the Alakazam. It's a specialty tar. You think since your friends hate it, got demolished. I know. That's the thing with like being able to watch your own games is like a 2-0 is not always necessarily a blowout. But yeah, who was it? Pengu. Wait, why are people saying they hate it? Um, I mean, we've seen Banded Swift Swim be a thing before. Obviously, we don't have Band, so it's a Life Orb instead. Citrus Bulky Pelipper is real. Although I think Sash is probably like easier to use if you don't have a Sash anywhere else. Oh, Chople Pop Bomb is my only like weird thing. Because I think this team doesn't probably need the Pop Bomb. Because you have Arch, Floette, Basque, kind of Pelipper, kind of Cinny that are pretty damaged anyway. Dropping Mousehold. Yeah, I think the Mousehold Arch combination is a lot more potent when Arch actually has body press. And then if you're doing Choppleberry, I don't think you actually want Pop Bomb. But Mousehold is still a very valuable follow me user with Friend Guard, with things like Taunt, Helping Hand. It gets Feint, it gets Encore. Like Mousehold, I think, is a very interesting Pokemon. I think literally the only thing on this team I don't inherently agree with is Choppleberry and Pop Bomb on the same set. But otherwise, this is just a good team. Yeah, exactly. Pop Bomb is very threatening on other teams, but this is a team it looks like Mousehold is really just trying to support everything else. And so I don't know if you need to be running your inaccurate Pop Bombs. I mean, it could even be Protect. Like, having Protect on your Follow Me user is still very valuable. And if you're trying to drop Mousehold for something else, I mean, I don't think you necessarily need to have a second Mega if you don't feel like you need it. But something to cover like Floette's worst matchups. Like if it doesn't like if Floette doesn't love to see like what, like a Mega Delphox, Mega Gengar maybe, then maybe Swampert fine here, but I don't think you need like I think Bath kind of does that. It could just be Incin. Um I don't know. I really don't hate this team as is. But yeah, I know I looked at this very briefly. If you want to keep the 6, I don't have a huge issue with anything offhand. Again, I don't even know what the calc is, but I think there is a calc like I saw some Charizard Wise running Helping Hand next to the Life Orb Venusaur, but with Leaf Storm. So I think there's some calc of Life Orb, Leaf Storm, Helping Hand is picking up a thing. It might be like a bulky Garchomp. It might like I don't know what it is. I literally don't know what it is. But there's something. There's something out there that dies consistently to Life Orb, Leaf Storm, Helping Hand. You never ended up bringing Kangaskhan. That surprises me. Because then, if you're only running these 5, like maybe if you want to just hard commit to Houndoom, maybe this could be like a Garchomp. Maybe even just a Scarf Basque. But this is where, like, I think Torkoal does best on teams that genuinely threaten both these fast modes and a trickery mode with it. And I think Kangaskhan Fridge Draft is a very consistent lead to get a Trick Room set up. And then you have to deal with getting Torkoal in safely. But I think it's still possible. And then you have either Scarf Ape in the back as like a cleanup once Trick Room has ended, or Venusaur doing the same thing. Toxapex char teams. Yeah, Toxapex char teams are tough. What does this team do to those? When you first power Venu. Does Adamant Rock Slide from Annihilate pick up bulkier Zards? Oh, those are the ones Charizard runs Helping Hand is bulky. It's still for a calc though. I don't know what it is, but the Helping Hand Leaf Storm Life Orb is for a calc. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's still, you know, if you have the ability to record stuff, it's always nice going back through the games. But it is also like sometimes you just lose to a good player for sure. And then second game was sheer cold, which again happens. Like quite simply, unfortunately, just happens. That makes sense. I'd assume like non-bulky Zards should die to the rock slide, but a lot of them are not no bulk. A lot of them have bulk. Yeah, I like this team. I know you said you never used Kangaskhan, but I might just see how that Tricker mode feels, or find out what matchups you didn't play in this tournament that the Tricker mode might be better into. Because I do think the Kangaskhan Fridge Draft Torkoal with either Ape or Venu in the back is a pretty good mode. Which is why I don't have any issues with this team, at least looking at it quickly. But anyways, it is getting a bit late. I don't work super early tomorrow, but I still want to get off and start unwinding and then go to bed. So I will see people later. It should be Parker streaming the tournament as normal next week, but it's always fun when I sub in. I might end up streaming my perspective of playing games. I'm off work next Monday as well. So I might. We'll see. We'll see how I feel next week. But yeah, Parker should be back streaming the commentating part as per normal. So yeah, no, this is I enjoy streaming these as well. So it's definitely fun. I will be back eventually, and I hope everyone else has a great rest of the night. Bye bye.